Hi, gifties. Welcome back to another episode of What a Gift, the podcast where we're trying to go from bitter to better. I'm Sarah.
I'm Jule, and today we are diving into the ancient arts of cooking and storytelling. We're going to talk about our experiences in the kitchen. We're going to talk about how to romanticize your life by making it into a good story, getting oral tradition going, etc.
Etc.
It's going to be a fun one. First, Sarah, how are you? What's new?
Thanks for asking, Jule. What is new? I went to a wedding recently, and I road tripped with friends, and a lot of the people that I road tripped with were in the wedding, and so they all go to the rehearsal dinner, and so we road tripped from Colorado to Kansas, and so we got there with I think we got the guys there within 30 or 40 minutes
of the start
of the rehearsal dinner. And so they just had to quick shower, change, be on their way. There was three of us that were not in the wedding party, so we were like, okay, we can be grunge, where are we gonna go eat, whatever. Well, some couples do the whole tradition where they do a holy hour before, and so they invited us to go to that. So we're kind of slumming it at this holy hour. I think I had jeans that I put on, but we looked crazy. And at the end, the groom comes up to me, he's like, hey, what are you guys doing tonight? And we were like, oh, we were just gonna go grab some food, and then if you guys go out after, probably meet up with you. He's like, you should just come to the rehearsal dinner. And I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, you should come. We had one of our families got sick and they couldn't come, so we have at least 5 spots, and there's 3 of you guys, so you guys should just come. And I look at my friends and I'm like, you guys, they want us to go to the rehearsal dinner, did you bring anything besides your wedding fits? And they were like, no, not really. So we had the rehearsal and whatever to figure it out. So we go to Walmart, and we all split up, and we're trying to find something to wear.
Oh my gosh.
Miraculously, we were in Manhattan, Kansas, and we all walked out with new fits that we will wear again, that we have worn again, that were appropriate for the rehearsal dinner, and that people gave us compliments in.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, it was amazing. I found this great dress. My friend Lizzie found a dress. Z found a shirt and slacks.
Wow.
Lizzie found shoes even. It was a miracle. It was crazy.
Wow. Okay,
yeah.
I feel when it is kind of do or die time, suddenly you're maybe I could wear this thing.
Yes.
Maybe in Manhattan, Kansas, it's different, but I recently went to a Walmart in Philadelphia. It was the Friday of a holiday weekend.
Oh, shoot.
The fight or flight that I went into, it was a mob scene. Everything, it looked like it had just been robbed moments ago. Everything's picked over. There's things falling off the hangers. It was just my mind went blank. I didn't even remember why I was there. And I don't know. I just don't have it in me to brave a Walmart. But
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
So I'm doing great.
I feel lately though they have had cuter stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, they're partnering with some good brands. So maybe I'll tell you about it later in our closing segment.
Oh, that's really fun though.
Yeah.
If I had to go, thank God you found something though, because being underdressed,
dude,
at an important thing is a nightmare feeling. Yeah. It's such a icky, self-conscious feeling.
Yes. Yeah, it's just embarrassing. And then you're like, oh, I was just invited. You're not supposed to be here. And it's so awkward. Ooh. I can't just stand up straight and own it. I'm right. No, these are all the circumstances that led to this moment. Yeah. So anyways, I am still on a high from that. That's super fun. I'm a living witness to a miracle firsthand. So
love it.
It was amazing. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Yeah, just things have been very chill at our house. We're trying to watch a little bit less TV. So
nice.
As the gifties know, I love reading books to people. So I've been reading a book to Chris at night. We're reading it together, but I'm reading it aloud. And it came about, we're reading the third Anne of Green Gables book called Anne of the Island. Mm-hmm. Because sweet Chris, I feel periodically I just show him foundational texts of my life. Yep. And so we watched the old 1985 Anne of Green Gables. Have you seen it? That was it's it was on PBS. It was like made in Canada. So we watched that together, and it only goes to a certain point in the story, and then Anne of the Island, the book, kind of picks up where the Anne of Green Gables little series ends. So I was like, we have to read Anne of the Island. It's one of my favorite books. And he's like, he's such a good sport. He's like, okay, like, so I've been reading Anne of the Island, and it's such a good book, even just as a standalone book. Like, there is continuity with the previous books, but it's also just so much fun. Like, we're like, okay, time to read Anne of the Island, and he'll be like, does she end up with Gilbert?
Time will tell, Chris.
And I'm like, oh, well, and like, there's, sorry, spoilers for Anne of Green Gables, but there's a part where Gilbert proposes and she says no, and he's like, what the heck? Like, anyway, we've just been having a lot of fun reading that, and it has felt like so wholesome, you know, like, to just be like, so wholesome. Time to put a couple chapters in, but we're also just trying to heal our brains, because normally we just want to like scroll on our phones or watch TV. So it's been a nice little wholesome routine at night.
That is so nice. I feel like a lot of people will be tempted to watch Anne with an E on Netflix.
Yeah, but if you've seen the Canadian series, you can't.
I
like
know.
that, because whoever that woman is who plays her in the old series, like, is Anne of Green Gables. It's so, when she's like, the highwaymen came riding. Anyway, you guys, it's on Amazon. It's so good.
Yeah.
So
to add that to my list.
Yeah, but then, and we're almost finished, so I'm like, okay, what book should we read next? I'm excited.
Yeah, that is fun. What do you think you're gonna do? Do you have a list? You guys
I don't
should probably
know.
keep a
There's
list.
like, we talked about, I feel like sound so dorky, but like, we talked about doing the like,
you don't sound dorky. It sounds so endearing and cool.
The Little House on the Prairie series, because like, my mom used to read those aloud to us, and they're so good, and he's never heard any of them. Like, and so I'm like, okay, maybe we're headed into Little House in the Big Woods next. But then I'm like, maybe we should save that
for children,
for when we have kids, and we could read something slightly more intellectually challenging. But
do you do like voices and stuff? I feel like
very faintly, like nothing.
Well, between Harry Potter to your dad and all these books to your Chris, I'm like,
with Harry Potter, I'll just like, I'll give you inflections that show the different characters, but I'm not like, hello, Harry, like. But in Anne of the Island, like, the author will write like accents in, kind of, so the way you read it, like, if someone has a lisp, like, she writes the lisp into it, so that
so you're forced.
So I do try to give it my all when those come up, but
that's awesome. Okay, wow. Well,
but it's funny, even though it's not like, even though I joked about reading something more intellectually challenging, like, I'm just glad we're reading a book, like. And like, we could do the audiobook, but the fact that I have to physically read it, cool, I'm like, I can feel that my intellect and literary skills are hanging by a thread as technology continues to melt our brains. So like, I'm just like, any reading, we'll take it. So yeah, it's been good.
That's awesome. Wow, thanks for sharing that vulnerable, intimate moment in your guys' lives, Chris. I'm so proud of you. Keep it up. Okay.
There's hope for Anne and Gilbert yet.
There is. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. Stay tuned. Okay, so what gift are you unwrapping then today?
Okay, so this week I'm unwrapping the gift of cooking. Okay, which I've had a bit of a journey with. Well, where I used to think I couldn't cook at all, and I basically never cooked, and then slowly things have evolved. I know, and we can get into, I also love cooking shows, cooking videos online, etc. But what's your relationship with cooking in general, the culinary arts?
If you will. I feel like I used to be way more interested in cooking. By used to, I mean, like, I loved helping. My dad would sometimes make like big Sunday stuff, like Sunday dinners or holiday meals or whatever, and I would always want to help him. My dad and my mom would bake, and I'd like helping them. But then when I went to college, I feel like the dining halls ruined me, and then I felt like I didn't know how to craft any meal at all. And then and when focus, you just like always have roommates, and I don't really know. I feel like it tapered off and now it feels too daunting to get back in. I do like it when I do it, but I also feel like, why do I have to look at the recipe so many times to understand anything? Why can I not think for myself? I feel like I've used so many things. I also think in a particular way, and I know this is your gift, so it will become a gift to me by the end of this conversation, I'm sure, as you enlighten me. But I also feel like cooking for one is hard and sad sometimes. It's like you have to use all these dishes and all these things, and then it's like, okay,
well, especially if you're making a dish and it has like a bunch of ingredients, and then you're like, okay, cool, I used my one leaf of arugula and now this bag is gonna rot in the fridge or whatever it is. Like it is like, it's frustrating when you have to, even like I was making something the other day that needed celery. I was like, could we sell celery by the stalk? Like I do not need 14 stalks of celery for this one thing I'm making. Like, and especially when you're cooking a small quantity, and then you're like, I either have to meal prep this and eat it every day, and so I can use up the ingredients, either that or they're like rotting away. So I totally get that. Yeah, I feel like in single life, like I was just like, here's like I would get those like salad kits or like you know, pre-grilled chicken, because I used to have like a deathly fear of cooking raw chicken. I've always felt like I turned it into like rubber, or it was like raw, like I couldn't get it right. So that has been a journey I feel like I'm finally conquering, but I totally get that with cooking for one. I feel like a turning point I came to with cooking was in on a mission trip actually in Ecuador, where we like on this trip they had planned that like a couple of women from like the village that we were gonna be in were gonna cook the meals for us. Like they had hired a couple people to cook meals for our group. And basically when we like arrived in this little town, they were like, oh yeah, like those people canceled and like no one can cook for you guys. So so we bought you this pile of random ingredients and your group needs to eat and good luck basically. And we're in this like concrete room that has one like propane burner, and then like I don't even know if we had a sink. We might have had like a hose, you know, like it was like, and like one like snaggled light bulb hanging in the concrete room. And that was our kitchen. And then the ingredients were like whole yucca roots and like 3 dozen eggs and like a random fruit called a tree tomato, which is not the same as a tomato. And like, the only seasoning they gave us was like this huge tube of like garlic paste or onion paste. And we didn't even have, I think they gave us like a dented pot and like maybe a spoon. And so like it was, have you ever seen the cooking show Cutthroat Kitchen?
I don't think so.
Well, there used to be this cooking show called Cutthroat Kitchen where they'd be like, okay, chefs, like you have to cook a meal, but you have to do it entirely using just this easy bake oven. And like they would like they would give handicaps basically to the chefs, like, and they would have to cook a meal under these like tough circumstances where they didn't have all their supplies. And then also, do you know the cooking show Chopped?
Yes.
So I felt like in Ecuador, suddenly I was on Cutthroat Kitchen and Chopped, where they were like, okay, chefs, you have this one propane burner. I had my brother's Leatherman pocket knife that he was on the trip with me. And you have this Leatherman pocket knife. You have 3 yucca root, a tree tomato, 12 eggs, 1 dented pot. Like, and you have to serve.
In 20 minutes.
Yeah, you have to serve this group of like 20 college students. And I'm not kidding, like, thank God my cousin Julia was also on the trip. Talk about, side note, a humbling experience being Jule Copa and having your like younger, prettier, cooler, more talented cousin Julia Copa come on your mission trip. And everyone's like, oh,
she's better in every way.
The defective model. Anyway, so she and I were like the chefs of the trip, and every night we're like firing up the grill, like, and we're like, I'd be like, I can't explain it, but I suddenly was just having inspiration for these meals. I'd be like, okay, tonight we're going to be having yucca fries with a tree tomato reduction. We'll be having an omelet with onion paste compote. Like, I suddenly was just pulling ideas out of nowhere. Thank God they gave us a couple packs of hot dogs. So like, but it was just the most random ingredients. And suddenly my cousin and I were in the kitchen, and we would serve these meals where we're like, okay, we made a chutney with like, I don't know how we did it, but we all survived. We ate meals throughout the trip. But I think kind of similar to your Walmart trip, buying clothes, like necessity is the mother of invention, so they say. And like, so suddenly I was like, I have to cook, and it's a gift that we have this food. And
yeah, that's true.
And it's fun to cook for other people. So I feel like that I learned a lot on that trip. And then when I got home and I was like, wow, I'm no longer hacking the skin off a yucca root with my brother's Leatherman. Like I can actually use a knife and cook something. Like I feel like it like emboldened me to think
that's nice.
I could cook more stuff.
Yeah.
So
wow.
Oh, this is so random, but on that trip, I don't know who was in charge of buying groceries for us, but it was, like I said, it was a ton of random stuff. And they gave us one bag that had a bunch of pre-wrapped Oreos in it. Okay. And we kind of were like, okay, we don't know what purpose these Oreos will serve, but we know they will come up later, like break glass in case of emergency. Like we know we have these Oreos. So cut to later in the trip. It's a long story. We like had this inspiring exchange with one of the people in the village. And as a thank you, they showed up where we were staying. It was so generous and sweet. And this man was like, we want you to have our cow's milk for the day. Aww. And we were like, thank you so much. I was with Father Ryan, you know, and so he gives us another dented pot of cow's milk, and he walks away, and we open the lid, and it was clearly such a gift from the heart and so generous. We opened the lid, but it was like, you know, it had a little bit of a film on the top. It was like still warm from the cow. There was like some hairs in it, you know, like it was like really fresh from the cow. And he was like, oh, and the guy was like, I'll be coming back this afternoon for the pot. Like, I'm coming back. Yeah. The milk better be gone. Yeah. Like, and so we were like, the time has come. And we like gathered everyone on the trip. We're like, we're having a mandatory cookies and milk hour. And we like handed out all the Oreos and like dished out all of the fresh cow's milk. And my cousin and my brother were all like, this is amazing, like eating. And we're like fishing the hairs out, like pouring more milk for them. Anyway, so we used every ingredient, including the Oreos on that trip. And
that's
it was
amazing. Wow.
Really fun. Sorry, that last part wasn't really about cooking, but
no. But it needed to be shared.
Yeah.
Being resourceful.
But since then I feel like slowly but surely I've been picking up more skills and I think cooking is a lot about confidence. Yeah. And we can talk about baking too. I feel like you like baking.
I do like baking.
But in my mind, like, okay, like let's say in school, I was horrible at math, but I was great at like language and arts kind of stuff. And in my mind, baking is math and cooking is like art and language.
I was really good at math.
That makes sense. Like, so sometimes with baking, like I'm like, like I can't get it right every single. It feels like literal chemical reactions where you're like, okay, you have to put enough so this thing rises, or like the ratios and measurements have to be correct. Whereas when I'm cooking, I'm like, I just
the sky's the limit.
I love pairing things, and like I feel like I just know what should go together, and there's a lot of like creativity to it. So I want to get better at baking, but I feel more drawn to just like, and a dash of this and a measure with your heart. Like, it's okay.
Opposites attract. We complete each other.
But so together we have a full meal. Baking?
I'm into baking. Yeah. I dare I say have perfected the chocolate chip cookie even at altitude here in Colorado.
Nice.
So I will hang my hat on that. I think there's something about the challenge. Like you never quite know if it's going to turn out. One thing that I like went through this whole phase of trying to make macarons, those like French sandwich cookies. I used to call them macaroons, but that's like a coconut cookie.
Right.
So macarons. Anyways.
I just watched an episode about macarons on the Great British Bake Off, and it's I didn't realize
so temperamental.
How particular it is. Yeah,
I feel like I've tried them maybe 6 or 7 times, and I feel like I've gotten them right twice or not 3 times. So it's not bad, except it is very time consuming. So when they don't turn out, you're just like, luckily they've never been inedible. They're just like either the shells are empty or they're like whatever. But anyways.
Well, that's what drives me crazy with baking is like you could bake a whole cake and ice it and it looks beautiful, and then everyone's watching and you cut into it and you're like, oh, it's dry, like or like I made a pie for Friendsgiving last year, and like it looked right, and then when we cut into it, it kind of separated
Soggy
in a way.
bottom.
Yeah, like it just. But you can't.
Yeah.
Like with cooking, I can like taste along the way and make
That's
sure
true.
that what I'm presenting someone else is right. And there's something so vulnerable with baking where you're like, I hope it's good. Like, but I am good at chocolate chip cookies. But yeah, with like bigger baking projects, it's so much investment for like hope it turns out. Like
that is true. Why do I do this to myself? I don't know. There's just something about it that I like. I also like because when it goes well,
you feel like $1 million
on top of the world. Yeah, it's like people are like, wow, that dessert, you have to give me that recipe. I'm like, you got it, babe. Good luck recreating it. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I also think it's kind of like the crown on top of the meal. You know, it's like you want to do well because you want to compliment the time and effort that the cook has or the chef has done on the meal.
Yeah.
I also feel like, I don't know, I think there's also part of me that like you bring, like I volunteer to bring dessert to meals often or parties or whatever, because otherwise I feel like people are just showing up with like store packaged cookies and stuff, and I'm like, no one's gonna eat this. You know,
if you show up at a party with store-bought cookies and you didn't even bother to like take the little Acme sticker off, I'm like, please have some respect for yourself and B, us.
Yeah, I just feel like people don't eat it. They're like, we now know those are full of weird ingredients and chemicals and they don't taste that great, and so people just don't eat it. And I'm like, I'd rather people get to enjoy this thing.
Totally.
But cooking, yeah, I would like to get better because obviously you eat 3 meals a day, most of us, or at least 1 meal a day. And it should be good and homemade, and it's a skill that you will use literally your whole life. And it's one that honors you and your body and other people, and it can be a gift to everyone.
But it's never too late. Like, because I was like, I'm bad at cooking. Sorry. Like, that was just like a fact of my life. And suddenly, like, again, necessity brings things about, and suddenly you're like, oh, I'm cooking for someone else, or I want to host this thing. And like,
is your favorite meal often your go-to meal, or are those separate to cook?
Well, I've talked in the past, we love chicken cutlets and they're a lot of work. So I feel like, I don't know, I like everything I make. I'm big on like seasoning things really well.
Yeah.
I had a new cooking hurdle that I tried for the first time. Our coworker gave us eggplants from his garden, which are like kind of annoying to work with, it turns out. But I really wanted to make eggplant parmesan, and it's a lot of work. You have to like slice them up, sweat them out, like you have to salt them and get the moisture out of them, and like all this gross smelly liquid comes out. And then you have to go through all the breading and frying and then bake it with, you know, like it's it's a lot of work. But I did all the work, and I was texting Chris while I was making it. I was like, well, I hope you enjoy the eggplant parmesan tonight, because I'm never doing this again. It was so much work, and it was so good. It turned out so well that I was like, actually, I have to make this again. Like now I understand. Like thinking back to my Italian grandmother, these people who would like labor in the kitchen to make these feasts, like you can see how it's like addicting to give it away then and be like, and watch everybody marvel in it and enjoy
I could see that.
Like it's so, and Chris is such a like grateful and like appreciative object to my cooking. So that's awesome. Really nice.
Good job, Chris.
But with a bigger group, sometimes I get stage fright a little bit.
See, I was just thinking, I was like, the times that I have gone all out, I feel like maybe I'm just like an all or nothing kind of person, because I feel like big meals with like one time I cooked pretty much everything for Friendsgiving for like 15 people. Like I cooked like a 15-pound turkey and like all these different things, and like the reward is so sweet when people are like, this is amazing. Thank you so much. But yeah, I feel like should just randomly make meals for my roommates or for whoever. And you should learn making chicken cutlets. Actually is easy. It just takes time, and people love it. It's a crowd pleaser. When we went to we did like a weekend trip with friends of the show, Mike and Sarra, etc. We were like, we're gonna go out to dinner, and it's just sometimes go with a group, it's like and then we have to schlep somewhere and split the track, and then we're sitting there for hours, and I was like, what if I just cook something for all of us? And I made chicken cutlets and like pesto tortellini and a huge salad and stuff, and
it was like, it made the night so much more fun than going out, and we all like were drinking wine and had music on while I was cooking, and like then had this like great meal together. And it was so, I don't know, it was just so nice that I could be like, let me do this, you know, like, anyway. So I feel like it is worth it. And yeah, the thing you said about like there being just like random chemicals in everything now, like it's kind of, you feel powerful to be like, I know exactly what I put in this. So yeah,
totally. That's awesome.
But it's a gift for sure. But I still need to, people are probably listening like, wow, it sounds like she's really good at cooking. It's like, then the truth is I make like 5 things really well, but I feel like I need to keep expanding my repertoire, because it takes patience, especially like after a full day of work or something, to be like suddenly getting creative in the kitchen. It's a lot, but yeah.
Wow, you've inspired me.
So cooking. Yeah. What about you, Sarah? What are you unwrapping this week?
I think we have all unwrapped already in this conversation the art of storytelling. I honestly feel like every time we sit down to do this, it is a masterclass, and I am just sat at your feet like,
no, oh my gosh, you're such a good storyteller too.
But I think that it's an art that it could potentially be dying. Like I feel like, okay, so some of my friends watched the Denver season of Love is Blind this last year, and they were like, yikes, like these people don't know how to say anything to each other. They just are like, yeah, like totally kind of stuff. Like they don't have conversations.
Their sentences just like trail off.
Like, yeah. And I feel like, people need to bring back telling stories. Like tell the story of your life. Like tell something that's happened to you recently. Like someone gave me a free Sharpie recently, you know, and that's a whole story in my life now. Like there's
and even like on TikTok or Instagram, they'll be like, okay, story time, and they're talking to the camera and they're telling a story, and they're like, okay, go to part 2 or whatever. And half the time they're not doing a good job. Sometimes it's very gripping, like the woman who was like, who did I marry, that like 55 part series.
Oh yeah, yes,
Risa Tisa, or shout out. But
it's like the serial of this decade.
But a lot of the time it's like, you're like, get to the point. Like they give you a good hook and you want them to get somewhere, and it just like is rambling and not concise. So I think, but there's a desire, like when someone's like, okay, story time, you perk up and you're like ready, and then when it trails off or it doesn't go anywhere, you are like, feel so betrayed.
I know.
So I agree. I think it is a skill / art that maybe people need to be cultivating a bit more.
Totally. And I think, sometimes we can, I mean, even just like receiving or like, you know, taking in good stories like Anne of Green Gables or like Chronicles of Narnia, Lion King. Like there's just like, there's good stories that we can learn from, of like how to tell stories or like even just to be inspired by and things. Like I feel like most of my favorite movies are like based on true stories, and it's like, because this is like, it's a great story.
Totally. And I think like, okay, if someone at home is listening right now and they're like, I actually don't think I'm a very good storyteller, and they're pondering how to improve in that area, I think thinking of those stories that we love and thinking about, okay, what do they all have in common? Even thinking back to like a high school English class where they're like, okay, there is a hero or main character, there's a conflict, there's rising action, there's falling action, there's an underdog, there's an unexpected twist, like
maybe there's an enemy or
right. And like it might seem like, well, I'm not on a quest you know, to do this epic thing, so my life can't be a good story, but you could tell a story of a run-in at TJ Maxx and there still could be a hero and a villain and a conflict and a resolution, you know, like, and I think it's okay. I don't know. Like, I think just starting to see the world that way and like learn to craft those, I think is worthwhile, because again, it builds connection, which is ultimately what's behind so many of the gifts that we like.
So true.
But if you had to give, sorry.
Well, I was just gonna say, last point, I also think that it gives you something to do. Like, it's like you don't have to like play, like you don't have to play a game. You don't have to be like do something to entertain when you're with people, you know. It's like you can actually like get to know each other by sharing these stories. I think the hardest part for me in like dating right now is like no, like other people don't know how to tell stories, or maybe they don't want to, and then it's like, I just feel like I'm just asking questions, or I'm being asked a bunch it's like an interview all the time. It's like you're just like pelting with like, so what do you do, why do you do that, how did you come, like it's like sometimes the what and the why and the how don't even come. It's just like, what do you do, what do you do after that, what do you do later, and
right. And you can learn like, it's crazy because in an actual good job interview you do say, tell us about a time when blank, like, and I feel like in our own relationship is asking questions like that, you learn so much more about a person when they share an experience than when they're just like listing off traits and characteristics. So if you had to give some tips to become a good storyteller, what would your tips be?
I would say use props, and I'm just kidding.
Props. I don't agree.
Just kidding. Gosh, I don't know. I feel like the things that I think of, I learned like either from listening to people or like from trainings even I received in like public speaking and stuff. But I don't think it's super complicated. I feel like just leave like a detail out, and like if it's like the person who you're trying to talk about, like I don't know, like leave out a detail about them until later, and that can be a surprise or something. But I just feel like girls especially, I think, have a hard time with like, we want to tell all the details of the things, and so we're like, and the sky was so clear that day, and then there was like a bunch of traffic, and then I like got in my car, and like the story's about like,
and you're like, edit yourself.
Like, the story ends up being about like lunch or something, like, and you start 5 hours earlier. So anyways, I think be cognizant of that, but I think ultimately know the point that you want to make first. For sure.
Like, keep momentum. I would say also own it, like, because first of all, it's unpopular right now to do anything long form. Everything, it's like get in and get out. Our attention's so fractured, people's attention span is shorter than ever. And so if you have a good story to tell, you have to sell it a little bit. Like, you need to be confident and be like, you are never gonna believe what happened, and like, and don't, because there's nothing worse than when someone starts telling something and you can see them slowly losing faith in their own story, and they're like, anyway, nothing more. Just like trails off. And so I think, like, know where you're going, go toward it confidently, keep momentum, edit out unnecessary stuff, and then some kind of callback or tying up at the end is crucial. But it's not like everything has to be a recited perfect story. But I think, like, what you were saying of seeing your life as a story, receiving good stories, and like keeping an eye out for the story of the day, I think is like a way to be in the present moment, kind of like and like things that seem so mundane, like running errands or just going about your day-to-day routine. If you're like, you know what, I want to come away from today with a story, like, suddenly you're gonna actually strike up a conversation with your cashier, or you're gonna like put, like, turn outward in a different way, instead of just being like headphones in, caved in on yourself. Like, I feel like if you're looking for the story, like, you're suddenly open to like adventure and encounter in a different way. So true.
Put on those story glasses, everyone. Look through those lenses for a while. Ooh, why did I say that? But I just love a good story. I will listen to anyone tell anything pretty much these days. It's an art, and it will take practice. I mean, if you think you're boring or something, it's like, maybe you are, and that's okay, but I still want to hear the stories. It's still about who you are, but it also, like, you just practice. Like, try a story on someone and then try the same one on someone else. I don't know. I do that sometimes. I feel like even like the podcast, like, my sister's been listening, as we know, and she's like I know all these stories and I still crack up or something, you know, and she's like, and one time she's like, and I didn't used to, like, so I think probably learning from you how to like tell it a little bit differently. But I think it's an evolution and a lifelong skill. And it's how things were carried on for how long. Like, it's still how
I know. And we are like, I feel like not an episode goes by where I don't sound 100 years old, but like we are losing like the art of conversation.
Yeah.
Everything is fractured. It's sent via text. We like nobody thinks they're worth listening to unless they have a platform, and like it's like, no, you could just talk to your friend about something. I don't know, like I think actually like having rich conversation and sharing what's going on with you like is so important, and doing it verbally and in person or on the phone is like.
Do you have any good leading questions to like draw a story out of someone?
I it's funny, I like I'm allergic to like
scripted,
like like discussion questions for the, you know, where you're like, if you could be any, you know, like those any kind of rehearsed question like that I don't love. But
I sometimes think something as simple as like, why did you do that, or why did you get interested, or even in that, you know,
literally being like my friend Morgan will, if she meets someone new and we're seated at dinner or whatever, she'll be like, so what's your story, and just let them decide what that means. And that's actually like a fun, it's not, and it's nice because it's not, so what do you do? It's what's your story. And I think it leaves room for the person to actually share like who they are.
Yeah, that's cool.
So I think that's a really good question.
I feel like sometimes I'll sit down and be like, so what's everyone excited about?
That's good.
And people are like, what? And I'm like, you have something coming up?
With the college students, like if I see like a gaggle of girls that I'm working with, I'll go up to them and be like, crush report. Who does everyone have a crush on? And they're like, please leave us alone. But or even in like the Bible study I used to lead, like at the beginning we'd have a moment where we like would share a high of the week and a low of the week, and we'd be like, highs, lows, and tea. We would just be like, what's the dish? What's happening? I feel like it's fun when you're like conspiring with someone and you're like, so where did you come from? What's your story? And showing interest in someone is such a gift, because I think we're all walking around thinking like, I don't want to impose, I'm a burden, I know I'm not worth listening to. And so like that kind of curiosity will hopefully breed conversation and storytelling.
Totally.
Yeah.
Also, I think helps you just remember people better. Like more than like, okay, I know that person's job and how long they've worked there or something, you know, I don't know whether, like if they're married or not. But
and we can like just decide right away, like, I probably have nothing in common with this person, or like, oh, they seem richer than me, or cooler than me, or better than me, or hotter than me, like, and then they like share a story from their past and you're like, me too. Like, I don't know, there's so many uniting factors when you actually get down to like where we've all been and what we've been through.
Well, maybe we can share stories while we cook sometime.
Yeah, that's honestly
trade gifts,
a great time to do it. Or over some delicious eggplant parm.
Yeah, oh my gosh, amazing.
Great. Well, this has been
a great conversation. Yeah, I've learned so much. Got to get back in the kitchen, and I got to think. Yeah, how do I compose stories? That was a good question. Like, what would be some tips that I would tell someone? I don't know.
Yeah, but don't overthink it. Just be yourself. But I will say, if you feel the air in the room going dead and you see the face of the person you're talking to going absolutely glazed over, get out, pull out of the story. Just be like, and anyway, it was awesome, and just get out of there, because nothing worse than when you're halfway through a story and you're like, we're going down.
And then you keep going.
Yeah.
Okay, so our closing segment today is going to be my gift to you.
Ooh.
Jule, which is the segment where we each tell someone something that's been a gift to us recently and that we want to recommend to each other.
Yes.
So my gift to you is actually going off of my story at the beginning about the Walmart finds. Sofia Vergara has like a line of clothing at Walmart. Could not recommend enough. Like,
really?
Sometimes the patterns are crazy. Like, it's like a lot of cheetah stuff sometimes.
I'm actually having an animal print era, so
sorry. I just like laughed so weird. That was horrible. Anyways, I have like a cream linen blazer that I got from her collection at Walmart like 2 years ago, and it is like one of the most complimented items in my closet every time I wear, and it's held up this whole time. And then that dress that I just got was from her, and so I just feel like when you find a gem from her, you find a gem.
Okay, wow.
They stand the test of time.
Well, unfortunately, I have, like I said, vowed to never go to Walmart again. But
if you ever find yourself in a Midwest Walmart,
if I ever find myself in Manhattan, Kansas. But I love that, though. It's so nice when you just find a good little clothing wardrobe staple.
Yeah.
Okay, Sarah, my gift to you is a musical rec.
Okay.
My new discovered artist on the street is Debbie Dawson. Okay. Gifties, if you already have Spotify open, search her name. It's Debbii.
Okay.
Dawson. Debbie Dawson. She is such a vibe. Okay. If you need like a sampler pack to get started, I would say Chemical Reaction, You Killed the Music, Gut Feelings, Try. But all her stuff. Oh, Eulogy for Nobody is another great song by her. She somehow has like has a little bit of folk, a little bit of pop. She has like some like 80s infused like synth pop stuff going on. There's a dash of ABBA in there somewhere. Like I love her. Okay.
Wow.
So Debbie Dawson, my gift to you. Seriously, pop her on.
Perfect.
And I love her music. So
I will. That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks for the gift.
Same. Well, this has been such a good time. Gifties, cook a meal, tell a story, pop into your local Walmart.
Tell a story about the meal that you cook.
Exactly. And most importantly, follow the pod, rate, review, subscribe. Follow Sarah and I. You can always DM us. Sarah, where can people find you?
Find me on Instagram at Sarra. And
I'm at Copacabana. The O is a 0. And yeah, we are so excited to talk to you next week with more gifts. And until then, don't forget, you guys, life is a gift, so receive it.